Kazuya, why do you think it is that people start their own families? So they don't have to die alone. It occurred to me while I was taking care of your grandmother. We lost our son and your mother much too early in life, but you're still here with us. And it was because of you that we found a new sense of fulfillment and purpose.
Because of me?
One of these days, I'll go off and join your grandma. When that day comes, you'll be without a family. Build your own. And once you have them by your side, no matter what comes your way, you have to keep them safe. You understand? Do that, my boy, and I can guarantee when the end finally arrives, you will consider your life to have been well spent. I'm getting on in years. This may be the final wisdom I leave you.
When he said those words, I thought they sounded like a dying wish. Time has passed since then, and Grandpa has joined Grandma. But I'm still here, all alone.
Whatever shall we do?
Your Majesty, I don't know what we can do.
Surely something has to be done.
My king, at this point I believe our only option is to summon a hero.
You understand the procedure, correct?
Yes.
All right, then we will now proceed with the hero rite of summoning!
What the... Huh?
Am I the only one surprised the summoning actually worked?
I guess everything is worth trying at least once.
Wait... summoning?
Ah, hero, welcome. Thank you for answering our call in these desperate times.
I didn't answer anything. I was summoned to this place against my will.
Yes, I suppose so. I can see why from your standpoint it would seem that way. By chance, you aren't upset we forced you here against your will?
Oh, I don't know. Wouldn't you be? At the very least, could you explain the situation? Then I'll decide if I should be mad.
An explanation, that would be helpful. The predicament is as follows.
India. Several races, including humans, elves, dwarves, and dragonutes, have made this land their home, forming a number of countries of various sizes. However, roughly 10 years ago, on the northernmost end of the continent, a void to the demon world dimension appeared, and a horde of monsters poured out. With their appearance, all hell broke loose across the northern countries. Under the banner of the Grand Chaos Empire, which boasted the largest territory on the continent, all the nations united to form a punitive force and mounted an invasion against the demon world. Unfortunately, those forces were obliterated. After the battle, the nations lost their main military assets. They no longer had the strength to repel the monsters from the demon world. The enemy continued laying waste, and now occupy a third of the continent. Presently, this territory is known as the Demon Lord's Domain. As their monster forces increase and the battle lines continue to rapidly expand, the outlook is grim. The nations of mankind can barely keep them in check, much less drive them back. To this day, a deadlock remains firmly in place.
Uh-huh. I hope I'm not supposed to fight these monsters on my own.
Well, Perhaps Marx could explain it better.
Huh? The issue is, a hero is truly a rare commodity.
As of this moment, the Demon Lord's domain remains mostly quiet. However, our forces are stationed at his border, and have been informed to remain ever vigilant. The soldiers' morale is high since they've been charged with protecting the world of men. But the longer the troops remain there, the more money's required. It's becoming problematic. Also, there is the other matter. Other matter? The Elfridan Kingdom. They've been asked to contribute to the war effort. The deadline is approaching, but they have yet to respond.
You're going to turn me over to the Empire in the place of financial aid?
I'm terribly sorry about this, and hope you can forgive us.
You see, while the Demon Lord's domain doesn't border our own kingdom, it abuts the Grand Chaos Empire, which happens to be the largest country in all Landia. Because of their brave efforts, we see many benefits and few monster attacks. But it costs. The Empire requires financial assistance from countries that do not share the border with the Demon Lord's domain.
So the issue ultimately comes down to money. If the Empire's willing to fight them, you have to pay them.
We'd love to, the only problem is we can't.
Right. Our country has been experiencing a continuous shortage of food. The expansion of the Demon Lord's domain has sent us refugees who were chased from their homes, and the cost of feeding them is astronomical. Any financial assistance. However, within the Empire's request for aid, there is a clause that states that if we cannot contribute financially, we may perform the hero rite of summoning. The sacred ritual of bringing forth a hero has been handed down in our kingdom for generations. We can send you instead of funds. That's tradition. It's with the utmost reluctance we...
You'd be more than willing to sell off your own daughters if it meant paying your debts, right? So, after handing the Empire a hero, what will happen to me after?
Well, we're a little murky on the subject.
All right. Then what makes a hero in the first place?
Legend says that a hero is the one who will lead the revolution into a new age.
The what? No disrespect, but that's more than a little vague.
The thing is, information is scarce, so the who and what of a hero are shrouded in mystery.
Seems like the Empire has an interest in them, though. I hope they don't want you to hand me over for dissection. Or anything else equally as macabre. Not reassuring.
There isn't a chance in a million that they would do such a thing.
Yes, 1,000,000. Well, 1,000. I'd put the odds at about 100.
Why's the possibility keep going up? Seems as though I'm stuck here for the moment. My original life plan was to become a civil servant, but now here I am, at risk of being dissected in some fantasy adventure. Easier said than done. Plus, if I screw up and get captured, this whole situation will only get worse. Which basically means the next thing I say pretty much determines my fate. If I may, permit me to ask one more thing.
I suppose so.
Are requests made by the Empire limited to this one, or are you expecting some more?
Well, of course they would need it.
Actually, the way I see matters, there's no end to these requests in sight, as long as the monsters persist in their attacks.
I'm sure you're right about that. So, I have another question. Going back to the rite of hero summoning, as long as you perform the full ritual, would you be able to summon however many people that you would need?
Oh, so you see, that's complicated.
According to our records, we did summon a hero prior to you, nearly 500 years ago. That took place only the once and at our nation's founding. There were, of course, several failed attempts over the years.
Assuming that's true, this is significant. I'm pretty much the one card this country has to play. Does that sound about right?
Yes, I would say so.
In that case, doesn't giving me up to the Empire right now seem a little vacuous?
Come again?
As you know, dear, vacuous means something that's done without any thought.
Ah, yes, that vacuous, of course.
I think it might be working. And if we are truly thinking ahead, we should review the country's finances, and then treating Kingdom's national strength, so we can reject Imperial demands.
Enough influence and power that we could say no to even the Grand Chaos Empire?
Us? But how? Accomplishing such a feat would require...
A hero? Am I not supposed to lead the revolution into a new age? And this act is merely the beginning. We might be able to bring real change to this country. Change the country. That was the idea. Only problem was I didn't have a plan. Still, all I need to do is find a way of coming up with the aid money. To start off, tell me about all the country's finances. I want to hear everything that's in place. I need to take a close look at the budget reports. Data on agriculture, forestry, fisheries, the economy, infrastructure, and transport.
Prime Minister, if you would please be so kind.
At once.
And so, a wide range of topics were discussed. The conference between the Elfrieden King, Albert, Prime Minister Marx, and the hero Soma went on longer than expected, lasting for 3 days and nights.
Hark and listen! I request your undivided attention. I, Albert Elfrieden, the 13th king of the Elfrieden nation, being of sound mind and body, hereby abdicate the throne and transfer all of its powers...
What?
Further, I am pleased to announce the engagement of my daughter, Princess Licia Elfrieden, to heroic newly appointed King Soma.
April 1546 by the continental calendar. The King of Elfrieden hands the throne over to Soma Kazuya. This news quickly spreads, reaching the three dukedoms, a trio of rulers who head the kingdom's armed forces, creating a significant stir among them.
What? Albert abdicated the throne?
Yes, sir. And there is more. He has ceded the throne to Soma, the hero they summoned.
That's certainly a bold move, and coming from King Albert of all people.
When this news reaches her, I bet Princess Licia will be beside herself.
Father, Mother, hold on! I'll rescue you!
Right there, that's the spot.
Father! Mother? You're fine. It's absurd! I heard that the throne had been usurped and came running to save you, only to find—
The throne hasn't exactly been usurped. I abdicated it in favor of Soma of my own free will.
But why would one make such a rash decision?
It was hardly rash. Though I've spent a short amount of time with him, I'm convinced he will make a better king than I ever could. It was a decision made responsibly by the individual in charge of this country. And I won't have any arguments.
But Father, how could you declare my engagement without even asking me?
Concerning that matter, it is ultimately a discussion for the two of you. While there is no denying the marriage arrangement was my idea originally, if you don't want to go through with it, I highly doubt that Soma will insist.
Mother, is he being serious?
My dear, you should go and meet Soma first. Then decide whether or not he's for you. We can't just force you to love someone.
They can't expect me to discuss the matter civilly with him. Obviously, this Soma guy is up to no good. I'm coming in!
Hey, whoever you are, give me a hand.
Pardon?
Hold up. You are able to read, right?
Please, I'm not some idiot. I've had an extensive education.
Then what's 3 plus 2?
5.
And 6 times 2?
12, obviously.
42 divided by 7?
7, or I mean 6. I got confused!
Good enough. Get over here and help me with the budget.
What help you?
Help me with these finances.
I am Licia Elfrieden, former King Albert Elfrieden's daughter, and you will show me respect.
Seriously? You're a princess?
Isn't it obvious?
Well, not really. That looks like a military uniform.
Because it is a military uniform. I'm stationed with the army under the command of Duke Carmine. I was out there performing my patrol duties, then rushed home when I heard the news.
Now that you mention it. Yeah, I should have known. There is something princessy about you.
Huh?
Oh, right. Name's Soma. And for better or worse, I'm the new ruler here.
And I used to be this kingdom's princess. Before you came along, that is, and stole the throne away. I'm not quite sure what I am now.
Excuse me, stole? If you'd been here, you'd know the king was more than happy to push the crown on me.
Perhaps you can explain that. I realize you're the hero they summoned to trade to the Empire, but you just arrived and suddenly my father makes you our sovereign?
I'm just as confused as you. I was just looking out for my own safety and suddenly I'm running things.
Oh?
I do wonder whether the two of them will find common ground.
They'll be fine, dear. Trust me.
When I brought up fiscal reforms, I knew I might be put in charge of the kingdom's financial management or something like that. But I never expected to be made its king. You have nothing to apologize for. Hey, you're the victim here. No one asked whether you wanted to get engaged.
Yeah, concerning that,
Don't worry about the whole betrothal thing. I'm only keeping the throne warm for a little while. After a few years, I'll probably retire from this king gig.
Really?
All I want to do is fill up your coffers. It was the only way I saw to keep myself from being handed over to the Empire. Then again, now that I've been given the throne, you know, can't waste it. The least I can do is get this country's finances back on track. But, after it's on the right track, I'll let this country handle the rest. Of course, you can cancel our engagement.
Such arrogance. You say you're going to quit being the king after only a few years. Can you really do anything for the kingdom in that short amount of time? And before you answer, let's start with all the aid to the Empire.
Oh, that. I've already secured the necessary funds.
It looks like they found someone to act as custodian. We should be getting the Elfrieden exports soon.
There is a great demand among the wealthy when it comes to jewelry sourced from royal families. Investing funds in order to snatch up the standout pieces was the right call, Princess Roroa.
And as a result, we did a fair bit of business.
I must confess that
Elfrieden can't afford to hold on to jewels while its citizens starve. They need to jumpstart their economy. At first, I wasn't sure why they made that hero their king. But based on what I've seen so far, he could be a formidable opponent.
Yes.
Ah! You sold off our national treasures? The national treasures belong to the whole country. You can't just give them away.
Come on, would you take it easy? If they belong to the whole country, then it's fair to sell them for the sake of the nation's subjects, right?
Yeah, all right, but there were numerous cultural and historical pieces.
True, which is why I made sure not to sell those. In Group A, I placed national treasures that have historic or cultural value. Those with neither went into Group B. The remainder were put into Group C. Only B was sold. When it comes to A's fundraising potential, they have more long-term value put on display in a museum. It wouldn't make much sense to sell them off.
It was smart of you to categorize them, but what about Group C?
Magical tools, which frankly I'm not sure how to handle. I would label those more as weapons. We can't put them on display, or risk the wrong person buying them. Speaking of, there is a full set of antique hero gear. If we find the right buyer, it should fetch a ton of cash. Sound good?
You wouldn't dare. Just what kind of hero are you?
Despite his sudden ascension to the throne, the country appears quite tranquil on the surface. The question is, how long will that last? Anyhow, Canadia.
See this new hero turned king with your own eyes. Determine how capable he is.
Putting a price on all of our national treasures, not what I expected from a hero.
If I hadn't, they would have handed me over to the Empire.
That is true, but still. Tell me, have you already sent the aid money to the Empire?
No, not yet. I told them to hold off on paying until the last possible day.
Then how about instead of giving it to the Empire, you redirect the funds to the military? After all, your ultimate goal is to get our kingdom enough power to resist them, is it not? At the military academy, they taught us to spend heavily on defense and nothing when it came to tribute.
So rather than offering payment for momentary peace, in the long run, the wiser choice would be to invest in building our military.
Allow me to chain your adage and immediately activate my own. Time equals money. The financial assistance takes on this card's effect, and by sacrificing it, we gain time, which is what our country needs most in this situation.
What are you doing with your voice?
Never mind that. Here's my point. Say we build up our military. If we neglect our domestic problems, it means nothing. Until we resolve our full support, it wouldn't take much work for an outside force to instigate an uprising. The country would be in a vulnerable state.
A revolt? Not the people of Freedom. They love their country. They wouldn't dare.
That's idealistic thinking. The fact is, when people go hungry, morals and patriotism vanish. You can't show concern for others if you have no breathing room yourself. Agreed?
It's true what they say. You really are a huge realist.
Know what? Perhaps I am. This world is one of magic, and inhabited by unusual creatures. If you feel like flying, you can always hop on a wyvern's back. Large domesticated beasts pull the wagons, and mighty sea dragons provide the power for steel battleships. There are no light bulbs, but the streets are illuminated at night by lamps filled with glowing moss. Cooking is done using fire-based magic on wood-burning ovens. Even though there's no hard science here, day-to-day jobs are accomplished through the power of magic. However, once you strip away the mystical and fantastical elements, it's a country with a rudimentary level of technology. The Industrial Revolution is years off, and the feudal system is still in full swing. Now, I'm a part of it. The king of this country. A magic check?
Yes, sire. After consulting various tomes regarding the ritual, there appear to be instances of heroes being imparted with magical abilities after they've been transported from other worlds.
Got it. So basically, it's like a test to see if I have any newfound abilities, which may end up proving useful. All I have to do is touch this statue?
Yes. If any magic was transferred to you during the summoning, its nature will become apparent to you once you make contact with the stone.
I don't know who came up with this, but I love how straightforward it is.
How did it go, my king?
I never thought I'd say these words, but apparently I'm a magic wielder now.
Oh.
The question is, what sort of practical applications does this power have?
Soma, I'm coming in. What is going on?
Licia, good you're here.
Looks like everything's handled. You're using magic to move those pens, right?
Turns out I found a good use for it. Since I'm able to copy my consciousness onto inanimate objects and control them, I figured I might as well get some extra work done around here. What I mean is, I'm not actually moving the pens per se. They're an extension of my mind, but writing on their own. Since I came up with the technique, it's only a bit chinibyo of me, huh?
I don't know what a chuny whatever is, but that is one weird ability.
I guess. Moving 3 objects is the most I can manage at this point. And it seems like they have to be close to me in order to work. Very handy, though. It's like copying myself, and being able to work on multiple tasks simultaneously. In short.
I'll go on.
Super convenient for doing paperwork. So, yeah, my newfound power's making certain tasks easier. Without it, you'd probably find me buried underneath a mountain of paper in here.
Even with your extra help, it looks like you're barely avoiding a bureaucratic avalanche. Just what sort of work are you doing, by the way?
Let's say we're digging for buried treasure.
Buried treasure?
More precisely, we're tracking down unaccounted for expenditures. We take the budgetary requests, then look at the financial statements. Even though the amount requested and spent may seem to be a perfect match, the itemized expenses will sometimes be different. That can indicate 2 things. First, wasteful spending in order to use up the budget, or 2, misappropriation of funds disguised as an investment. We are poring over every request form the Kingdom has received and keeping an eye out for any glaring discrepancies. If any embezzlement is discovered, the guilty party will pay the amount back. And if...
Is it necessary to go to such lengths? After all, you solved our financial woes by selling the national treasures and paying the Empire.
Sure. For now, at least I don't have to worry about being turned over to the Empire anymore. Still, if we want this country to get back on track, we can never have enough capital. Same goes for manpower.
I can't help but wonder if Soma and Licia are getting along.
Knowing the 2 of them, I'm sure they're doing just fine.
You think so, dear? Yes, you're right.
What time do you have?
It's morning already.
What morning? How long have you been standing there?
Not very long. Maybe less than a minute.
Who are you?
You looked comfortable. Just wanted to make sure you slept well. Anyway, the paperwork's all wrapped up. If you wanted to nap a little while longer.
I'm rested. Don't tell me you never stopped. By the looks of it, you haven't slept in ages.
I was planning on catching a few winks later. But in the meantime, would you care to join me?
This minute?
Yeah. If you don't mind, I have something I want to show you.
Easy. It's not like you have to hold on to my waist so tight.
Sorry, but this is pretty scary for me.
Some hero you are. Traditionally, the man should be up front holding the horse's reins.
I can't help it. This is my first time riding on a horse.
You're joking.
We get around other ways. Like where I come from, we travel using machines and don't rely on animals.
Sounds like quite the place. Soma, tell me something.
What is it?
The place you're originally from, do you have family there waiting for you to return? Or, you know, friends?
My grandpa was the last of my relatives, and he passed away before I came here.
Sorry to ask.
No reason to apologize. My grandfather lived a full life. Basically, there's no one waiting for me to return. I guess I'm in no hurry to go back right away, either.
I see.
You could stop here.
Pretty how the morning dew makes a glisten.
You think so?
I mean, the whole reason you brought me out here was so we could look at it, right?
In a way. You can't eat scenery, though. And that's why we're experiencing a food shortage.
Eating scenery? What are you getting at?
It's pretty simple. As far as the eye can see, there are nothing but cotton fields.
Ah, and they can't be harvested for consumption.
Getting right to the point. The reason this country has a food shortage is because there are too many of these fields.
Meaning?
It started with the Demon Lord's domain. The countries north of here, monster attacks forced production to cease. Speaking of, in this world, the further north you travel, the warmer it gets.
Does it work differently where you come from?
Actually, the weather's the opposite. Anyway, that's beside the point. Supplies dropped, and the purchase price of cotton shot up, leading this country to change course. At the time, you wanted to produce and sell as much cotton as possible, and in turn, the farmer stopped growing food. A crop you can't eat, and is grown solely for market, is commonly referred to as a cash crop. There's a drawback when you devote your entire agricultural system to growing them. It leads to a sharp decline in food self-sufficiency.
Which explains the current food shortage.
Sort of. You can always import crops from other countries if supplies aren't adequate.
You're right. Not to mention cotton sells for a higher price. We could use the money to purchase food from elsewhere.
Yes, just one problem. Cotton prices have considerably fallen. There was profit to be made, so other countries realized this and rushed to produce cotton. As a result, the global supply far exceeded the demand. And now, the cash crop this kingdom had been relying heavily on is practically worthless.
Meaning less funds to import fruits and vegetables from other countries.
And since we're importing less these days, the cost of domestically grown foods have continued skyrocketing. The most vulnerable classes hardships that's undermining this country's progress.
I had no idea. I was ignorant of my country's suffering. Its people. As a royal, I'm an utter failure.
Don't talk like that. Hey, nobody said that leading a kingdom would be easy.
Wait, leading? Then the reason you brought me out here was because...
Yeah. Someday, Licia, you'll be the ruler of Elfrieden. What I want, most of all, is to leave you with every tool you'll need to succeed. So after I've gone back home, you'll be able to manage all facets of this country. The first step is to limit the acreage for cash crops and start planting food again, so we end the shortage and no longer have to be as dependent on other countries. The kingdom will provide farmer subsidies to support the changeover. Also, we need to prioritize planting soybeans and potatoes. They have a variety of uses and also can survive harsh weather. Alicia, you listening?
I was paying attention.
It's not like agricultural reforms just happen overnight. Imported or domestically produced. The kingdom will purchase it and sell the goods for less than we bought them for.
Sounds like that's gonna leave us in even more debt.
And I'd like us to make up the deficit with our exports. But given the current market value, we will need to find a new cash cow that isn't cotton.
Easier said than done. I'm going off topic for a second here, but the king isn't exactly supposed to be eating in the mess hall.
Don't worry about it. We're busy economizing the castle. We have to conserve meal expenses.
Yeah, but still.
It's been some time, Princess. Or rather, should I refer to you as Queen Licia from now on?
Nothing's official. Not yet, at least. Soma, this is Sir Ludwin Arx. He's the captain of the Royal Guard.
It's Soma Kazuya. I'm sort of the country's acting king at the moment.
You've made quite the impression. Only recently taken over, and already your job performance is the talk of the staff.
Next time you see them, pass along a message. If they have time to chit-chat, they should be working harder.
Understood, sire. If I'm not intruding, may I join you for breakfast?
Fine by me.
As long as I'm here, might I ask you a question?
I'll try and do my best to answer it.
I hear you're attempting to carry out many reforms. They proceeding smoothly?
Yeah, a bit problematic. None of the officials are of any use, other than Prime Minister Marx. Besides the crown, I also received the king's senior advisors. To be perfectly blunt, these are the same officials who let the kingdom nearly fall into ruin.
My ears are burning.
Now hold on, Soma.
Where are the people who can tell me the truth, give me straight answers, and agree to complete whatever tasks I assign them? Those are the sort of retainers I need.
You want to use the gemstone broadcast to recruit people?
Yeah. If I have this right, the gemstone broadcast can reach across the entire kingdom?
Yes. As long as the reception environment's set up correctly, whatever is said in the castle's gemstone room will be heard across the nation, no matter how far away someone is from us.
Then it's perfect for letting everyone know our situation.
Ordinarily, it's only used for the king's New Year's greetings or to issue important proclamations and like orders. This will be the first time it's used for job recruitment.
How does hiring around here usually work?
Well, let's see. We look at all personal connections, or hold a written exam and recruit those who manage to pass successfully.
That sounds pretty biased, don't you think? Also, what's the country's literacy rate currently?
Half the population can read. If I had to guess, about 30% can write.
What? That's a terrible figure! You can't decide if someone's right for the job using just 2 criteria before they can even interview! How many diamonds in the rough could be left undiscovered?
I don't know how to answer that.
No worries. Once the financial situation stabilizes, we can solve other issues as time permits. But first up, we have to start recruiting capable people.
And how are you going to encourage them to step forward?
I've been mulling over what I plan to say, but I'm just going to end up paraphrasing a hero I respect since they said it best.
Another hero?
That's right. An unscrupulous hero of chaotic times.
During the late Han Dynasty, Cao Cao, the man responsible for laying the foundation for Wei during the Three Kingdoms period, was so dedicated to gathering men of ability under his command, some described him as a man possessed. In the year 210, to meet the demand for talent, he issued his famous Order of Seeking Talents. Within it, there were passages that have been spoken for generations since, including this one.
If you possess a skill, we can use it!
Is that supposed to be our new king?
He looks so young!
My people, we need your help. This country is facing a crisis. Between the chronic food shortages, the depression, and an influx of refugees whose lands have fallen to the Demon Lord's domain, the Kingdom of Elfrieden is facing several afflictions. Additionally, our neighboring countries are realizing the severity of the situation. Your former king determined he was not up to the task, and entrusted me to handle these affairs. True, if we were living during a time of peace, there is no doubt he would have made an effective leader. However, we live in an age of upheaval. During strife, you need a king who is tenacious, someone who acts less like a saint and more like a survivor. To the point, a ruler who's able to keep your families and property safe from harm befalling them, domestic or foreign. That is why your former king chose me to succeed him. I would never speak ill of your previous ruler, but in terms of resolve, I have the clear advantage. Presently, I'm spearheading a number of reforms.
However, we are overwhelmingly short-handed for the tasks ahead. That's why I'm here, to recruit anyone with a talent that will aid the kingdom. What we require during these troubling times are not those who excel in peacetime matters, but individuals who can revolutionize this country. As for the talent, it can take many forms. If you can claim with confidence you are the best at what you do, come and stand before me. It doesn't matter your education or age, your social status, place of origin, ethnicity, or gender. You can't read or write? No problem. I don't care about your connections, how attractive you are, or the number of skeletons in your closet. There's no one else in the country who even comes close. If you believe that with all your heart, I say, come forward and present yourself. I know some out there are hesitant, wondering if their talent will be of any use to the kingdom. However, that is ultimately for your king to decide, not you. The determination whether or not this country needs your specific expertise begins and ends with me. I don't care if others have labeled your talent worthless. What are you waiting for? If your ability is determined to be an asset to this country's future, I will afford you every courtesy and look to you as my newest advisor. But perhaps there are some out there who are still unsure. Come demonstrate a talent that is unmatched by any other in the kingdom. And as King of Elfrieden, I will issue you a certificate of peerlessness and a monetary reward. Would that provide you with some incentive? If so, let me hear you! You may recommend yourself for someone else. If the candidate's another person, you will receive 30% of the reward. During these trying times, it'll be up to you to bring forth those who otherwise would not step forward. Also, if your talent is being the strongest one in the room, the best singer or something delegate in each category will be selected, so do bear that in mind. Those of you who possess an aptitude, I'll see you at Parnham, so we may shake hands!
What was that bit at the end?
You thought it was too much?
Just a touch.
I hope it worked. We'll need all the help we can get. The fact that I can understand the language spoken in this country, and similarly that people here understand my native language, is not a coincidence. Apparently, this is some strange power imparted on heroes. Not only that, I can read and write the language of both worlds. Don't ask me how. It's like it automatically gets translated inside of my head, and then I write it out. On that note, it seems no matter where you're from in this world, the entire population uses a single language. Which is hard to believe, given the diversity of cultures that call this world home. Out of everyone here, it looks like I'm the only person who has this auto-translate ability, so it may be exclusive to heroes. For instance, I can play recordings saved on my phone, but when I do, the only thing the people of this world hear is an incomprehensible language. It's all so strange. Someday, Licia, you'll be the ruler of Elfrieden. What I want, most of all, is to leave you with every tool you'll need to succeed. So after I've gone back home, you'll be able to manage all facets of this country. But, after it's on the right track, I'll let this country handle the rest. Of course, you can cancel our engagement.
I know that's what Soma promised, but did he really mean it? Full personnel to advise him. But most importantly, what this country needs right now is Soma's leadership. The place you're originally from, do you have family there waiting for you to return? Or, you know, friends, girlfriends, anything like that?
There's no one.
He doesn't have connections to the world he's originally from. So, what if I become a part of his family? I wonder if that would anchor him here. Wait, if I create a fait accompli as his fiancée, then...
Princess, it's time to get up.
I'm already awake.
Princess? Is there something wrong? You're looking slightly flushed.
Nothing is the matter. I was just thinking about...
Today is the day. His Majesty is going to honor the 5 subjects who proved to be especially outstanding among the recruited talent.
Yes, I remember.
The king wishes for you to attend as well, so please hurry and get ready.
I understand numerous people responded to his invitation.
Yes, so many. The screeners were complaining, grumbling how there was no way they would ever finish.
I'll bet if Soma heard that, he would say, if you have time to complain, get back to work.
What is with that expression? Don't tell me you're having second thoughts.
No. I've made it this far thanks to my talent, but am I nervous about standing before the king and having to prove it can be of some use? Yes. After all, my skill is rather, well, you know.
You are in the presence of the king, and you will bow your head.
This is not my people's custom. I ask your forbearance. Respect must be deserved. Warriors from our tribe bow to no one but our master.
What did you say? Who, if not the king, is
It's all right. I'm the one who asked them for assistance to help the kingdom. We can allow some leeway.
As your majesty requests.
The rest of you, please stop bowing. If anyone here ought to be showing some gratitude, it's certainly me. Feel free to stand.
By order of His Majesty, the gifted and exemplary citizens of the nation have gathered at the capital, them apart from their peers across the land. We will now announce the talents these people possess and present them with their promised awards. Aisha Utgard, Dark Elf from the God-protected forest. If you would step forward.
Time for a little research. Dark Elves, a minority race within the Elfrieden Kingdom. Their people are known for their elevated combat skills. They live in the God-protected forest, which is said to be divinely guarded, and are allowed autonomy over these woods as its caretakers. They have limited interaction with other races and are extremely territorial. It's helpful being able to read remotely like this. This living poltergeist thing sure does come in handy. Pun intended.
Your Majesty, she excels in the art of combat. It is fair to say that her fighting abilities are unmatched by anyone in the kingdom, and we commend her for that.
The foremost military prowess in the kingdom. I have high hopes for you.
To be clear, you wish to honor those who can prove they are an asset to the future of this kingdom?
That was my promise, and I intend on keeping my word.
In that case, I do not want the reward. I ask you to hear my request instead.
Go ahead. Please tell me.
My people are troubled for failing to grow. Please, sire. I ask you to lend my tribe your wisdom.
I'm not sure what to say. Let's see. Just making sure, you are thinning the forest properly.
Thinning? What exactly do you mean by that?
You should periodically cut down a moderate number of trees in order to maintain the woodland and promote new growth. Everyone knows that. Then again, maybe they don't. If you allow the mature trees to grow rampantly, their foliage blocks out sunlight, preventing younger ones from flourishing. If the forest isn't managed and is left alone, all you're left with are old trees that are thin and weak like bean sprouts. Once that's allowed to happen, the woods become vulnerable to snow and wind. And without sunlight, the undergrowth begins to wither. The soil can't retain water, making it susceptible to landslides.
Your Majesty!
Yes? What'd I say?
I humbly beg your forgiveness for my rude behavior earlier.
Huh?
If you command me to fight, then I will fight. Command me to die, then I shall. Order me to become your concubine, consider it done. Please, as soon as possible, come to the God-protected forest. Once you're there, teach my people about the art of thinning.
Sure, you got it.
By the sounds of it, things are getting interesting over there.
Juna Doma, you shall be next. Step forward.
Yes, sir.
Huh? What? I haven't forgotten my job, so stop giving me that look.
My king, this woman possesses unparalleled beauty. In addition to this, she has an incomparable singing voice. She may rightly be called the greatest songstress of our time.
A beautiful appearance and voice. God does have favorites after all.
I don't deserve such praise, Your Highness.
From the information I've been provided, the Doma family's ancestors were Loreleis, so a talent for singing most likely runs through her blood.
Loreleis. Legend says they were creatures from the deep, who beguiled sailors with their beauty and enchanting voices. The singing voice of a Lorelei. I would very much like to hear a song.
If that is what you wish.
I know.
All of Elfrieden is watching. Since the ceremony is being transmitted far and wide via the gemstone, could you sing us something that will help?
Let's see. Several songs have been passed down in my family, but most of them are melancholy in nature. Honestly, I can't think of any energizing songs, but if I were to hear one, I'm sure I could sing it right away.
If you were to hear one, huh? Well, in that case...
My king, what manner of device do you have there?
I guess you can think of it as a pocket-sized musician. Right, are you ready?
Ready.
The song I played you is one from my homeland.
Does that mean the language I just heard is from a completely different world?
Yeah, since it's foreign to you, it'll probably be hard to sing.
No, I'll be fine. I remember the song phonetically after hearing it, so I should have no trouble at all.
You memorized the whole thing after hearing it only one time? Amazing.
Most kind of you. Very well. I will sing for this land.
Here we go, go 走り続ける誰にも止められはしない未来の自分へと Give a reason for life 届けたい
Thank you very much for giving me the chance to perform for the whole kingdom.
I should be the one thanking you. You have a wonderful singing voice.
I would love to learn more songs from your Majesty's homeland if possible.
I see you're as intent as ever on gathering intelligence from all quarters.
Valuable intelligence is worth more than gold.
And has there been any news of interest?
Apparently, the King of Elfrieden is doing an overhaul of his advisors and recruiting talent across the country.
Seems he didn't think those musty dynastic retainers could fulfill his new agenda.
Certainly looks that way. Still, it's not like his is the only nation in desperate need of some fresh blood. In the end, that entirely depends on whether the person hiring can recognize a candidate's true value.
He displayed ingenuity and generosity in agreeing to the Dark Elf's request. As for the Lorelei descended songstress, I look forward to seeing how he will use her skills to better the kingdom. Overall, not a bad start. However, the most challenging trial is about to begin.
We shall continue with Pancho Pannacotta from Pote Village. Step forward. Right! That would be me, Your Cernus. Pardon my clumsiness. The This man's talent for eating can be called legendary. While there were several applicants who answered the call claiming to have a true gift for gluttony, none could match this man's insatiable appetite. Furthermore, his search for food has been no ordinary one. He has traveled the world, eating specialties and rarities along the way. According to him, he has consumed just about everything there is to eat.
What? It's terrific news! My call. I've been waiting for a person with your expertise. More than any of the other talented people here, I'm delighted that you stepped forward.
Your Majesty is delighted I'm here. You know, everyone, they called me Fatso and said I was a fool to throw my money away for the sake of eating.
They're wrong. Your well-honed gluttony will save this kingdom. So hold your head proud and high.
Are you sure about that, my kingness?
Yes. Your insight from sampling the specialties and rarities from all over will be key to solving multiple hardships. I need your help, Pancho. Let me use your vast knowledge.
Yes, sire. If I can be of any assistance to you, by all means use my experience. Please.
Hey, Marks. If there's a distinguished subject, this country has a tradition where the king can grant them a specific title, right?
Indeed. You are most correct, my king.
In that case, Pancho, I will dub you with the name Ishizuka. Back where I'm from, it belongs to an insatiable hunter and master of cuisine. I trust you'll work hard not to tarnish the name.
When the sight of King Soma receiving Poncho was seen throughout the nation, it encouraged the reluctant. There were still those of exceptional talent who had not stepped forward, but after witnessing how all manner of skills were praised...
Your Majesty, the preceding three nominated themselves, but the next man was recommended by someone else.
Huh?
And now, Hakuya Kwan Min, step forward.
Sir.
This man has exhibited a talent for intellect. It is believed that his knowledge and memory are unrivaled throughout the kingdom.
Who was it that suggested your skills could help out in some way?
It was the uncle I live with, sire. He said I was old enough to stop reading books, and should serve my country in a meaningful way, so he put my name forth. That's funny?
No, I was just remembering how I used to get that a lot myself, believe it or not. So then, what genre of books do you tend to read?
I do not prefer any one genre. I read literature, of course, as well as history, law, and military tactics. Assimilating knowledge unknown to me is my reason for living.
Interesting. In that case, how would you like to be a librarian in the castle library? You would have free access to books authorized to only catalogers.
Oh, that is most generous, and I graciously accept. Yes, I suppose that is what I would have said just a moment ago.
But not anymore, I take it?
No, I've changed my mind since.
Fine, then what would you prefer?
If you'll permit it, using my knowledge, I would like to underpin your Majesty's hegemony.
Praetorpin? Does he want to be my military strategist? And you believe you're gifted enough to do that?
I would like to think I am.
You said that you changed your mind. Explain.
Begging your pardon, but since the ceremony began, I've been sizing your Majesty up, judging whether you were a ruler worth serving.
Seems I passed. What criteria were you using to determine if I was worthy?
It was dependent on whether you appointed Poncho. That was my litmus test. Even if you had not immediately recognized his value, but had appointed him for some future use, you still would have passed as a king. If you had judged Poncho's talent as worthless and rejected him, you would have failed. That was my line of reasoning. I never expected you to welcome him as you did. I'm pleased that I was wrong about you. There's no doubt, your talent is sensing what this country desperately needs and seeking it out at all costs.
I will echo those sentiments. I also believe I know what this country needs during these trying times. But tell me, are you the sort of advisor who can help me get the job done?
I believe His Majesty must be the one to judge that for himself.
All right, then. Come to my chambers afterward. We'll converse, then I'll determine how much talent you have and how best to use.
And so concluded the first meeting between King Soma and Hakuya Kwan Min, the man who would later be known as the Prime Minister in Black. That evening, after talking late into the night, King Soma acknowledged Hakuya was a man of rare ingenuity and installed him as his right-hand man.
And lastly, we have Tomoe Inui of the Mystic Wolves. Would you step forward? She's quite unique. This girl has the unusual talent of being able to commune with both birds and beasts.
Oh?
To verify this ability, we had her taken out to the royal stables. There, she revealed both the health statuses of the horses and their histories. According to her, she ascertained the answers from the animals directly, making her gift truly heaven-sent.
The land of the Mystic Wolves. That's way to the north of Elfrieden. Wow.
Yes. As far as I'm aware, there are no other mystic wolves residing in the kingdom.
Which would mean that there's a good chance she's a refugee. Hmm? It doesn't make any difference to me. She has an aptitude and I'll make good use of it. But the question is, how do I make the most of her talent?
My king? Excuse me?
What's wrong?
Nothing. Actually, there's something that I need to tell you.
Earpiece.
Right? As it happens,
Sorry. You'll need to speak up a little or I won't be able to hear.
well, you see...
No problem. I'll come down there to you. See? Now you don't have to raise your voice so much. There's no reason to be shy.
Yes. The truth is...
When it comes to how people view so-called monsters, there's a distinct difference between this world I was summoned to and the one that I came from. Back in my world, monsters are not seen as people or animals. They're basically a separate class of creature. Things are different here. We fall into both categories. Some are seen as people, some as animals. To be more specific, humans, elves, beastmen, and dragonutes all exist under the label of mankind. As for the wildlife, even though they look like dinosaurs, giant lizards are seen merely as common reptiles. An ant the size of a person isn't the least bit shocking, and man-eating flora are still regarded as simply plants. Incidentally, dragons are known as god beasts and are treated differently into the world's ecosystem. So Jelens, a slime creature which to me looks like something out of a sci-fi movie, are treated here as a common animal with an important role to play. So what does qualify as a monster here? Mostly creatures that look like fusions of various animals. Among their ranks are many beings that are relatively human-like in form, but no different from a common beast in terms of intelligence. Or so I thought when I started recruiting talent, until a mystic wolf girl responded to the call and told me something that threatened to shake this world to its core. See? Now you don't have to raise your voice so much. There's no reason to be shy. You're absolutely sure?
Yes.
Have you told anyone else about this?
No one. I mean, besides you and my mother.
Remain calm. Keep breathing normally. Don't let anyone see how shaken you are. Your request has been duly noted. While I cannot promise you anything, I'll consider it. Oh, Marks.
Sire?
Her talent's truly a unique one. I'll need some more time to reflect on how to affect...
As you wish, Your Highness.
My capable guess. For answering my summons, I'm eternally grateful. I ask you now to lend us your aid in reviving the kingdom. Please.
Yes, sire. So, you said you wanted to talk to me about something that was important?
Back in the chamber, when she whispered to me, is it possible anyone in the audience heard her?
I know I didn't hear anything.
No, she was speaking far too quietly, sire.
My ears didn't pick up a single word either.
Sounds like there was no danger that it went over the gemstone broadcast then.
I don't think we have to worry. You shouldn't be sensitive enough to pick up whispering. Whatever she said to you must be serious if you're this concerned about it getting out.
Yeah. So she can converse with the animals. You heard that part, right?
Yes.
Not only does she know what they're saying, but somehow they're able to understand what she says in return. It's no stretch to call her talent phenomenal.
Yes, even more so because she can also speak to demons.
Up to this point, it was thought the monsters of this world possessed intelligence equal to that of an animal's. However, among the Demon Lord Domain's ranks were those who acted in teams, using weapons and magic, and behaving. The humans began referring to these particular beasts as demons, to distinguish them from the others. True, these demons were different from other monsters, But despite being able to demonstrate intelligence, there was still one crucial component that separated them from the other races and breeds of the land. Demons could not be understood. Their language was unlike any tongue used by the rest of the world. Unintelligible.
You spoke to a demon?
But that isn't possible. No one can understand what demons say.
Tell us everything that happened in detail.
Well, the demon I spoke with in the woods was pretty short. And he had a face that looked pretty much exactly like a dog's. I went into the mountains to pick wild vegetables. That's where I ran into him. Before I could think, I yelled out, "Help!" Then, to my surprise, he said, "You can understand me?" He seemed as shocked as I was. My guess, he must have been a scout. At least that's what it looked like he was doing. He said we had the same scent. I couldn't bear watching you die. Go on and run away, quickly! And so that's what I did.
Meaning a demon actually showed sympathy?
It's possible this was an isolated event, and only a handful of demons would let a mystic wolf escape. But even if it's only a fraction, there are demons we can communicate with, which could alter our situation dramatically.
What do you mean by that?
Are you saying we can negotiate with these demons and take back the lands lost in the war?
It would be nice if things took a turn in that direction. But as of this moment, the nations of mankind are joined together facing off against the Demon Lord's domain. Simply because the demons are seen as our enemy, one that is irreconcilably at odds with us. As soon as people learn we have a way of communicating with their kind, there's a big chance one or more nations around us will try and forge an alliance with them.
No, they would never do that.
I'm no expert, but our worlds have similarities. There are conflicts between nations here, aren't there? Those who would want to gain the upper hand.
Yes, just to the west of us. There resides the Principality of Amadonia. Under our previous king, we had a conflict with their country.
In an effort to keep Demon Lord's domain from spreading, we are all working hand in hand with the Grand Chaos Empire leading the way. However, mankind is not unified or immune from warring with itself.
You're right. There are those who'd exploit her power.
But I'm only bringing up one possible scenario since there really is no telling what would ultimately happen. After all, communicating with demons was thought to be impossible. The fact that we can is sure to shake up this world. We have to be cautious about this.
Very much so. We can't afford a word of this to leak and become...
But most importantly, the kingdom has to safeguard her with all the tools at its disposal.
You mean protect me?
Yeah. In the grand scheme of things, you're far more important than even I am. You could shift the tide of this war and change the relationship between mankind and demons.
No way, me? Surely you're exaggerating a little.
I'd like a royal guard to watch over her. Will you see to it?
As you wish.
One concern, if we surround her with knights, would that not arise greater suspicion?
Very true. One minute she's a simple peasant girl, and the next thing you know, she's surrounded by the royal guard. People will inevitably think there's more at play.
You're right. Someone might get suspicious and start snooping around.
In that case, why not simply welcome her into the castle as royalty?
Huh? We can do something like that?
Of course. It's not usually difficult. Your Majesty would simply adopt her, but seeing how you're not yet wedded to Princess Lycia, it's not possible right now. And speaking of the wedding, preparations would take more than a year to complete.
Well, that's that.
I wasn't trying to rush it.
Anything else?
Your Majesty could take her as your secondary consort.
A consort? Are you insane?
In this kingdom, the law states for a child to be a princess consort who is in line for the throne, her standing must be that of a knight or better. No problem.
Yeah, that's not the issue here. By the way, how old are you?
I'm 10 years old.
Perfect. That is well within the allowable range, Your Majesty. And for a political marriage, not exceptional.
Even so, that's far too young.
It's not like I need you to convince me. And why can't the previous king and queen adopt her?
Yes, I suppose that would work.
It absolutely will. I've always wanted a little sister.
Wait a minute! I'm sorry, but I'm not so sure about this. Because I already have a family of my own. My mother and brother are waiting for me. Back at the refugee camp.
It's all right. You see, Tomoe, it's more of a formality just to make sure you're well protected. If you become my little sister, your mother and brother will also become my relatives. They'll be able to live here in the castle with you.
Well, in that case, I agree.
Marks, allow some time to pass before the adoption, and then we'll make the announcement. If we rush into this without warning, It'll look strange and pretty much defeat the whole purpose.
A wise decision, Your Majesty.
In the meantime, I would still like to keep her safe.
You wish to give Miss Tomoe a role, which would require her to stay within the castle, correct?
I do.
Let's see. Then in recognition of her ability to talk to Her Majesty's carriage.
Great idea. Let's go with that. Sound okay to you?
Oh, yes!
So, what exactly is going on here?
Isn't it obvious? I'm sewing.
That part I get, but I'm wondering why you're doing it in my room.
I had some downtime. I needed some place to relax. Everyone in the State Affairs office is working hard.
Why don't you just have my father give up his room already? So you can use it as your own.
Maybe. And again, for efficiency's sake. It's probably better for me to sleep in the office I have to work in every day.
There are definitely other rooms in the castle.
By the way, what has Tomoe been up to? Ever since she got here, you've been doting on her like a big sister.
Lately, my mother has taken a liking to her. She won't leave her side. Sure, Tomoe was a little hesitant at first, but now she's delighted to have a second mother, so I guess everything worked out fine. It's okay, you may enter.
Just, don't read anything into this!
Seriously? He's back already?
Yes, and should be waiting for you in the reception room.
No time to waste, Licia!
Hey!
Welcome back, Poncho. So, was the expedition successful?
Oh, very. In large part because you let me use the Royal Wyvern for traveling. I was able to hit every one of my locations faster than I expected. I gathered pretty much every type of food I was after without any complications.
Wait, you mean you also lent him the hero sack?
That's right. It's far bigger on the inside than it looks on the outside. Plus, whatever you store inside it is less prone to spoilage. The perfect tool for gathering food.
You mean the same satchel that's part of our hero gear collection, one of the kingdom's crown treasures? And you're using it to haul around a bunch of... We'll move past that. What do you got planned anyway, going through such lengths to send them out and gather food?
What do I have planned? Something that'll do the kingdom a little good, I hope.
I hope that everyone in the Elfrieden Kingdom is having a great day.
I do as well.
And this is the King's Brilliant Lunch of the people of this nation. Or we can just shorten it to the King's Brill Lunch. I'm your host, Juna Doma, and with me...
I'm Pancho Panicotta, connoisseur of eating and all things food.
We're only addressing the entire kingdom. There's no reason to be nervous.
Well, the thing is, I'm not used to presenting to a crowd. As a born entertainer, I'm sure this must come natural to you. I'm really quite envious, Miss Juna.
It's true, I'm no stranger to entertaining large audiences. Speaking of which, whenever you're in Parnham, you might want to visit Lorelei, the cute cafe where I work, and say hello. I sing there from time to time, so stop on by if you're around.
If we could refrain from any blatant endorsements. And now then, to go into the specifics of the show, we'll now give the floor to this gentleman. You know him as Elfrieden's 14th king, His Majesty Soma Kazuya.
The truth is, I haven't actually been crowned yet, so technically I don't deserve the title. Hey, greetings. I'm acting ruler of the nation, Soma Kazuya. And as you're probably aware, the country is suffering from a massive shortage of food. As the chief administrator, it's I who should be held responsible. I apologize to you, the people. While we're moving forward with a plan to immediately increase our food production, it will take time and I ask you to be patient. Until it's resolved, we will keep making regular broadcasts. Introduce new foods, a few of which you may not be accustomed to eating, but are quite plentiful, as well as the different ways to prepare them. And to prove these strange items are delicious, I've arranged a panel of blind taste testers who have not been informed beforehand what sort of dishes are being served to them today.
Okay then, let's get started, shall we? Pancho, why don't we reveal the first food you have for us?
Of course. Our first dish is...
I thought we were tasting food. You're not gonna serve that to us, are you?
Hope you're all hungry.
A perfectly reasonable reaction considering its appearance, but as a coastal dweller who's eaten these creatures before, trust me, they are quite yummy.
Juna, you ate one of these and actually liked it?
Yes, they are a traditional delicacy back in my homeland.
What do you know? I'm not gonna lie, that's starting to smell pretty good.
All right, go ahead and try one.
It's delicious, whatever it is!
Hey, you're right! This really is yummy!
Whoa, those are pretty tasty! One serving isn't enough.
Would you mind if I helped myself to one as well, sire?
Please, be my guest.
So good!
They're incredible! They're so full of flavor, aren't they? When you bite through the crispy coating, inside's the octopus, and it's so juicy.
Daddy, we caught a whole bunch of octopuses in our net today, didn't we?
Sure did. Usually we toss them all out. Let's give them a try.
Moving right along, here is our next food item.
I know these. They're tree roots, right?
They don't look all that tasty if you ask me. Are you sure that we can even eat them?
You've never had a burdock root before?
It sounds like you're familiar with these, Aisha.
It's hard for me to imagine anyone wanting to chew on a root.
Well, in the forest, you have to cook and harvest whatever nature provides, otherwise you won't survive.
I had no idea.
A little salt here. A little sugar there. All right.
They're crispy, and the salt lends them a lot of extra flavor.
When I bite into one, the oil comes off and mixes together with the sugar, giving off an explosion of sweetness that tantalizes the taste buds.
I can't wait until my mother gets a chance to try these snacks.
You eat both kinds at once. They're sweet, salty, and oh so good! Your Majesty, do you have any more of these?
From what I've seen, Aisha sure seems to be content, huh, brother?
Yes, it appears so. You'll understand why I cook the next meal ahead of time after you see it.
You do not expect us to eat insects.
Funny, I could have sworn you were just telling us how you had to eat everything in the forest to survive.
And for some reason you assumed that extended to bugs? You would have to be mad to eat these.
That hit the spot. You know, it's like being back home. Yeah, being boiled locust.
Being boiled? So did you use some kind of extract?
Precisely. I primarily seasoned them using a combination of both mash water and sugar.
Never heard of it.
Mash water is a condiment. I find that mystic wolves greatly enjoy the flavor. More specifically, it's referred to as bean mash water, which is made from salting beans to ferment them. They continue skimming layers of liquid that forms during the process, and after extremely unique flavors not typically known or available in the kingdom. Truly.
In other words, the bean product is miso, and the mash water is soy sauce.
Soma, you really going to eat that? Wait, are you crying?
I can't stop myself from tearing up. This is a flavor from my homeland.
Insects are a dish in your world?
With every bite, the flavor of Japan spreads throughout my mouth. Not only does this world have soy sauce, but miso too. I no longer have to dream about the flavors I love so much being only a memory.
Pardon, Your Majesty. I don't mean to interrupt, especially when you're so moved, but would it be alright if we continued to the next dish?
Huh? Oh, yeah. My apologies. On with the show, as they say.
We can't wait, Pancho. What do you have for us next?
Ah, yes. I think this one will surprise you.
We can't wait. What do you have for us next?
Ah, yes. I think this one will surprise you.
I hope I'm wrong, but is that a Jellin?
Why, yes, indeed. That's exactly what it is. You have a good eye.
That's weird. I didn't think you could eat those things.
Yep.
just a moment, please. Is that Jellin dead?
Yes, ma'am, no need to worry. This Jellin has already been slaughtered.
It can't be. I've never seen or heard of a Jellin carcass before.
Yeah, now that you mention it, this is pretty weird.
Why? What makes it so unusual?
If you break open the thin surface membrane of a Jellin, its internal fluids come gushing out everywhere.
So it shouldn't be possible for you to kill one and have it remain intact like that.
I gotcha. So, what do you have to do to preserve the carcass?
Well, there is a bit of a trick to it, but it's not too terribly difficult. I learned this from a small tribe who lives far to the west within the borders of our great empire. If you strike it with a stick or something just hard enough so that you don't break the membrane, you can destroy the nucleus within. I'm told the locals refer to this method as Jellin Ikajime.
I guess they're kinda like fish.
If you successfully break only the nucleus, then all of that internal fluid will begin to congeal and the Jellin will grow firm. If you continue to let them sit after that, the remaining moisture will eventually evaporate and they'll become almost hard-cured lumps. I'd say 2 hours after death seems to be the sweet spot. They'll be solidified to a certain degree, but retain some... Now, you could simply boil these strips in some salted water, and they'll firm up even more.
Huh. It looks like he's adding stock.
Ta-da! Please, give it a try.
They look like udon noodles.
Oh? What's udon?
Oh, right. That's a back home thing. We have a thick wheat flour noodle that looks a lot like this. Though, the ingredients and preparation are completely different.
You don't say. Then I think you should have the first bite.
Huh?
You've eaten something a lot like this before, so go ahead.
She's absolutely right. After you, Your Majesty.
In that case, Highness, here you go.
Yeah, thanks. But I don't. Well, I did give the others food they weren't accustomed to. It's not fair if I'm the only one who gets out of this.
So, how'd it turn out, Soma?
It's way better than I expected. Now, I thought it would be slimier and fishier, but Tsu noodles than udon. But there's a unique squeakiness to them. It's not bad at all.
Then I'll try it too. Wow, this is something else.
Its texture is unlike anything I've had before, and I kinda like it.
And the soup really adds a nice flavor to them.
Wow, I can't believe this came from Magellan! That's amazing!
Unfortunately, that's all we have for you today, so it's time we thanked everyone for tuning in to the King's Brill Lunch and wrap things up here. I hope you enjoyed acting as our host, Pancho dear.
Yes, although I'm afraid it may be asking a little bit too much of me to do this again. Sorry. Someone please trade places with me next time?
My, I certainly hope there is a next go-around. What do you say, Majesty?
Only if the people demand it.
Well, there you have it. It would be wonderful if there were some demand, don't you think?
Oh, I guess, but I'm not gonna hold...
Wait to do this again.
No, please, I really don't want to.
Goodbye, everyone, and take care.
Who knew there would be so much demand to keep the Kingsborough lunch running regularly? Oh, we have to at least do a follow-up now. Come in. Marks wants me?
Yes, sir. He says he has something important to discuss.
What's going on, Marks? Why are we having to meet in here? Why not talk in the State Affairs office?
Do forgive me for interrupting your busy schedule, but I wanted to discuss the possibility of stepping down as Prime Minister.
No, you can't be serious!
The former King Albert recognized your Majesty's talents and yielded the throne to you without hesitation. I have given a considerable amount of thought to following his example. I have done what I can in your service for as long as possible, but I believe your needs have outgrown my abilities.
Unexpected. Have you thought about a replacement?
Hakuya has proven himself most talented and deeply devoted to the throne. I believe this man is the perfect candidate to take over my position as your new right hand. He has my...
So be it. The formal appointment will have to wait for another meeting. But yes, I agree with you.
My oh my, that certainly is a huge weight off my shoulders. Now I will humbly accept the retirement allowance I owed for my many years of service and perhaps purchase myself a cottage in the country where I can enjoy the rest of my days. At least that's what I had been planning, but I am well aware that the National Treasury is still in dire straits. So in lieu of my retirement and in service of the Crown, I will remain at your side and accept a salary commensurate with a new position.
How about that? You are a wise minister.
Even more than you previously thought I was? I am more grateful for your Majesty's words just now than I would be for any monetary reward.
Listen, Marks. It hasn't been very long since I arrived in this world. There's much that I still don't understand, especially when it comes to the customs of the court. I would like for you to act as a consultant to help me with that. Will you?
Your wish is my command.
Sire, although I haven't been formally appointed yet, as your Prime Minister, I have one suggestion I'd like to put forward.
What is it?
Majesty, I think you should take...
Honestly, if all the things Hakuya could have suggested, why'd it have to be that? I get that when the boss won't take time off, it makes it harder for those under him to do so. But it still feels weird.
If I had my druthers, I would prefer that you take a substantial break, an extended stay in a quiet location outside the castle.
But we don't have time for that, do we?
No, we do not.
I figured as much. All right, what do you want me to do instead?
Take the rest of the day away, and leave the grounds before you're tempted to continue working. I've made arrangements to allow for your absence.
Yeah, if I'm taking time away, I'd rather stay in my room.
I'm afraid that's not an option. Our objective here is to have your Majesty show off that you were taking a break from work. You need to enjoy this time in a way that the castle is able to see and appreciate.
I don't think you can call that a real break, then.
If I may, sir, use this opportunity to take Princess Licia on a date in the castle town.
A date?
Oh, yes! By deepening your intimacy with her in that way, it will surely hasten your succession, sire.
Don't get ahead of ourselves!
But I guess it would be kind of nice to go out together. So what should we do about an escort?
I think Aisha would be the perfect choice.
Brilliant, Hakuya, indeed.
Sure, but if it's supposed to be a date, should I really bring another girl along?
You'll have a flower in each hand. I couldn't be more envious.
Indeed.
Damn him. He didn't mean that, right? Oh, just who I wanted to see.
Shabby.
I could say the same about you. Your guard is truly impressive.
Is this how warriors of this world always fight? If they don't slow it down, they're going to destroy the whole castle.
Hey! Enough already, you two!
Your Majesty!
Date?
Yeah. So that's a no.
It's not a no, but knowing that Hakuya was the one who proposed it is a bit troubling.
Yeah. Free time. There's no reason we can't go out somewhere, right?
I suppose not.
Ooh, sir! In that case, please come to our forest.
As much as I would like to. I only have today, so we'll have to go someplace relatively close by.
Oh. Yes, we would need far more time. It's 6 days round trip, even by horseback.
We'll plan to travel some other time. I did go over how to carry out the thinning, though, right?
You did. But there are many among the Dark Elves who have always been particularly inflexible on skirting tradition. They may take some convincing to let their own people cut down trees in the forest we're meant to guard. See?
Ah. No, that makes sense. Those types are all over.
That is why I would very much like your Majesty to travel there and rebuke them personally.
Understood. We'll go as soon as time allows.
Thank you very much. I have begged your indulgence, so in exchange, please use me as you see fit.
Great. I actually do have a favor to ask.
Sire, yes. Shall I to bed?
Why would you assume that?
Because I just finished offering myself to you. Was that not clear?
Soma.
Hey, don't give me that look. You know I wouldn't. I just wanted to ask if she would be our escort down in the castle town today.
Wait, you don't really want me to come along on your date, do you?
If Licia and I go alone and something happens to one or both of us, we'll be in big trouble. And when I say date, really just having a look around town, so no worry.
It's nothing, forget it.
So this is a military academy uniform.
Sorry to keep you.
Hey, those glasses are really working for you.
Oh, you think so? Well, thank you.
Your Majesty, how do I look in uniform, sir? Huh?
It's not a great match for you.
Why not, sire?
How can I put this? I guess it doesn't exactly mesh with the mental image I have of dark elves.
What image of dark elves do you have? Do you think I should be wearing more or less? Would you rather I wore only my flesh out with you, perhaps?
No, hang on, I didn't mean that.
I have no idea what you're imagining, Soma, but you're crazy if you don't think she looks good like this.
I knew I liked you, princess!
All right, let's observe some personal boundaries. It won't be long before we're in town.
Remember, once we set foot outside this carriage, you and I are no longer the princess and the king. We're simply students at the academy.
Yes, hence the uniforms. We can keep a low enough profile like this.
You can count on me, Your Majesty.
Another thing. We're undercover, so you shouldn't call me that.
Oh, of course, but what should I call you instead?
You can give a name, Kazuya.
Huh? Soma, I thought that Soma was your given name.
No, that's obviously my family name. My name's Kazuya.
But you're Soma Kazuya, are you not?
Yes, Soma Kazuya. That's right! Given names come first in this country like they do in the West! No chance I can go ahead and correct that, is there?
It's unlikely. Your official documents probably all have Soma Kazuya written on them already.
Oh, come on! I cannot believe I screwed up my own name that badly!
I don't think it's that big of a deal. Here we go. We can switch back and forth depending on where we are at the time. So when we're out in public like this, I can call you Kazuya.
I'm sorry you have to cover up my mess.
I'm happy to do it. What exactly is your perception of me in this moment?
I'm not really sure. Slacker dark elf?
Seen this town and pretty refreshing.
It's been a nice break in the monotony.
Lord Kazuya.
What's up?
Something wrong?
No, but I am getting quite hungry.
In that case, how about we go get something to eat at Juna's cafe?
Well, if it isn't Your Majesty...
Good day, Miss Juna. It's been a long time, so I do hope you remember me. But if not, I'm Kazuya, the son of the silk crepe dealer in the kingdom of Echigo.
Ah, yes, of course I remember you, Kazuya. How could I ever forget? Your father is doing quite well, I hope?
Oh, yes. Although there was quite a scene when Mother finally learned of his unfaithfulness.
I can imagine. I do hope you're more mindful of how you treat women than he is, dear.
I'm glad she caught on so fast. Thank goodness for Juna.
I'm still surprised at how much I like this stuff.
So, has Gelen Udon already become an official part of the menu?
It has. You would not believe the number of people who've asked to try it ever since the broadcast. And since it will still be quite a while before we recover from the food shortage, I'm so relieved to have such an affordable new ingredient.
I promise we're doing all that we can. Sorry if it's not enough yet.
Oh, please. I think you're doing a wonderful job, Kazuya. Don't you fret.
Why does it always seem like you treat Juna differently than everybody else?
Oh, yeah. That's something that I noticed earlier myself.
It's nothing I can help. I get nervous when I talk to pretty women. You don't have to point it out. And Aisha, you can talk or eat, but not both.
She's made her decision, folks.
You know, Miss Aisha, the first time I saw you in the royal castle, you struck me primarily as a gallant woman of action who would never let her guard down. But right now, you seem much more like a harmless slacker.
Hey, that's not true, is it?
From this angle, it looks like you just want to outdo Poncho at the gluttony game.
Yeah, it makes you wonder whatever happened to that gallant Aisha of yore.
Is it possible? Although I've offered my body and soul to you, you haven't asked me to bed because of my appetite?
Why are we suddenly talking about this again? But either way, it's not like I can do that when I'm already engaged, so...
Soma, don't you know? Polygamy is recognized in this kingdom.
Recognized and embraced. Sometimes women will take multiple husbands as well. But that's not as common.
If you try to limit yourself to one husband and one wife, you run the risk of your household dying out rather easily.
Sure, I guess. So why haven't I seen any queen consorts apart from Lycia's mother?
Oh, that's because originally it was my mother.
Wait, so your father married into the family?
Yes. He wasn't in charge of any governmental affairs until after they got married. That's why he never downplays my mother's involvement on the throne, and why he never took other consorts.
Hang on, then was it all right for him to concede the throne to me himself?
That wasn't a problem. My father got all the attention, but he could never have abdicated without my mother's approval. I'm the only one with a claim to the throne and responsibility to the bloodline, though. So I would eventually have to take a husband one way or another. In my father's case, there were extenuating circumstances that don't apply to you, Soma. If it's really what you wanted, another wife would be... possible.
But would you be comfortable with that?
Truth be told, I wouldn't be thrilled about it, but I'm willing for there to be up to 8, including myself.
So many? Okay, so where'd you pull that number from?
Well, I'd like to have you to myself at least once a week.
Oh, right. I keep forgetting this world has 8 days in a week.
Wait, so if everyone is assigned a day, does that mean only once per week?
Maybe, though I don't think it has to mean that. If you and one of the others invited each other to your respective days...
Oh, that's true. Nice looking out, Juna.
Although, it is hard to pass up some guaranteed time alone.
Oh. Yeah, you're right.
Come on, can we not talk about this in public, please? But I wonder what that harem would be like. 8 wives?
And do not make me repeat myself. No how.
The Elfrieden Kingdom's total military force is said to be roughly 100,000 strong. The army, led by Duke Jorg Carmine, numbers 40,000. The Navy, led by Duchess Excel Walter, numbers 10,000. The Air Force, led by Duke Castor Vargas, numbers only 1,000. Though, it is said that one Wyvern Knight is equal to 100 foot soldiers. Furthermore, there's the Forbidden Army, which is composed of the Royal Guard under the King, combined with private armies of noblemen. Their numbers total 40,000 strong. Also, there are hired swords dispatched as part of the service contract with the mercenary state of Zem under the leadership of the Forbidden Army, but their employment has been terminated. The reason being, soldiers who fight for profit readily change sides. They have only one loyalty: whoever pays most. When a military force fights for money and not country, they do more harm than good. Now then, to explain why the Forbidden Army is smaller than the 3 dukedoms' forces requires a bit of a history lesson. The kingdom was originally founded when various races decided they should join forces. Humans were the most populous, so one of their own became king. But in order to preserve the rights of the other races, the top leaders of the 3 armed forces over air, sea, and land were chosen from among these people. The system allowed the 3 dukedoms' forces, which outnumber the Forbidden Army, to resist them. At a glance, this may look well designed, but a decision-making body split into groups has many disadvantages for a state. For some reason, when I contacted them about my reforms, the 3 dukes decided to give me the silent treatment. Because of these circumstances, I had the freedom to take some time off, and honestly, I was actually enjoying it.
Out of the question! And do not make me repeat myself!
It's not like you're going to change my mind!
Going off those ears, maybe another mystic wolf like Tomoe?
No, she isn't. That girl's a mystic fox.
Huh?
You can easily tell by looking at her tail. Clearly belongs to a fox.
Oh, right, definitely.
You wouldn't want to mistake mystic wolves for mystic foxes. That's an easy way to make both races mad.
Oh, thanks for letting me know. Other worlds are hard.
Of all people, I wasn't expecting to see Halbert Magna here.
You know him?
He's the oldest heir to the prestigious Magna family. Ever since his days in the academy, he's shown himself to be an outstanding horseman.
Ah, that's a challenge I cannot pass up.
Now, Aisha, she said he was outstanding, not the best.
After graduating, he was supposed to take a post in the army.
About the girl?
Don't know.
That is Miss Kaeda Foxia. Actually, she comes in here relatively regularly. If I remember right, she said that she was a mage with the Forbidden Army.
I'm begging you, Hal, please. You mustn't go over to the Carmine Duchy right now. You know the Duke is outright defying the new king of Elfrieden. Worst case scenario, we're looking at potential civil war.
That's the whole reason for switching. If there's going to be a war, this is my chance to finally make my mark on the world.
I hope you realize there's more to war than just advancement. Your father's worried about you. He requested you come back because he doesn't want you doing anything rash.
My old man has nothing to do with this. He served under Duke Carmine's command for years. But when it's time to confront this new king, my father refuses to fight. Instead, he hides away in the capital. I don't have to listen to a word he says.
He clearly understands the situation better than you. When it comes to Duke Carmine, he refuses to heed the king's call and stays in his own lands. It's insubordinate. He hasn't been acting like himself lately. If we fight amongst ourselves, it only benefits the neighboring countries. The Principality of Amadonia will do whatever it takes to win back the territory that was seized by Elfrieden 2 kings ago. Most of the Republic of Turgis' land is frozen. They want rich soil and a harbor that won't freeze. Duke Carmine hasn't figured it out, otherwise he wouldn't be acting this way.
First, let's go over the surrounding countries. They're the nations that border our kingdom in the southeast end of the continent. They include the Union of Eastern Nations to the north, and the Principality of Amadonia to the west. To the southeast is the Republic of Turgis. Also, in the sea to the east, there's the Nine-Headed Dragon Archipelago Union. Then, west of the Principality of Amadonia, lies the mercenary state Zem. There are no countries with whom we have friendly relations. 4 of them are neutral, while 1 of them is hostile.
So basically, you don't have any allies.
With all due respect, because of the chaos from the Demon Lord's domain expanding, this is not uncommon. Presently, each nation is wary of the other's intentions. The truth is, the only allies they see as trustworthy are their own tributary states.
So, which territory's hostile? Is it Amadonia, Zem, or perhaps Turgis?
First of all, we can exclude Zem. To be frank, the choice to terminate the mercenary service contract left relations with their country somewhat strained, but still I would not call them hostile. However, Amadonia is antagonistic towards us, and if we requested reinforcements, they would likely send mercenaries.
Getting in some payback while also getting
hit by the ice and snow, so geopolitically they adopt a policy of heading north.
But why north? Right, I forgot in this world it gets warmer the farther you travel in that direction.
They may be watching carefully for an opening, but if we gave them one, I doubt they would be openly aggressive towards us.
Basically, we have to guard against Amadonia, which is strange. They did offer to send assistance, if I remember right.
Yes. The stability of our neighbor, Elfrieden, is directly related to our own national defense, thus if requested, we will send reinforcements to put down the hostile 3 dukedoms, as they so eloquently put it. Thing is, it wouldn't surprise me if they made very similar offers to the dukes as well.
Let's work together to overthrow the false king Soma, usurper of the Elfrieden throne. About right? Obviously, their plan is to exploit the strife with the 3 dukedoms so they can expand their territory.
They'll see their chance to send troops into our lands, calling them reinforcements, then capture several of our cities. Amadonia will weigh their options, whether their assistance to your majesty or the duchies is more advantageous. Then aid that side.
And after they've occupied various cities, they'll come up with some reasoning to annex them as part of their country.
Sadly, it's a rather common tactic, but quite effective nonetheless.
I'll bet. This is a real problem.
Well, all the dukes are likely wise to Amadonia's true motives.
So regardless, advantage of by another country. At least, I sure hope that's the case. There's still one issue, though.
How can the dukes needlessly oppose the king when the neighboring countries are looking for any opportunity to pounce? What are they thinking?
Yeah, that is the question, isn't it?
Duke Carmine isn't careless. Whatever his reasons, I trust him.
Even though you admit you don't know what he has planned, you're still more than willing to blindly follow him into battle?
For your information, several noblemen have given up on the king and have combined their forces with Duke Carmine's army.
And do you know why they're joining him? They're upset the king has exposed their injustices. After having their property confiscated to pay for their crimes, of course they have an axe to grind. If Duke Carmine is taking those sort of people under his wing, then I have a hard time believing his cause is just.
Well, it's not like he...
Look, Hal, I'm begging you. reconsider going over to the Carmine Dukedom. It's dangerous to side with anyone who opposes this king. Trust me.
A child unproven in combat dangerous? He's no match for a battle-tested hero like Duke Car-
Your perception of him is all wrong. Isn't my word good enough? That man is formidable.
And what makes you say that?
An army's effectiveness depends on the quality of soldiers and supplies. The same is also true for a nation. Our new king, he's finding people to solve the food crisis. So, pardon, but why are we here? Please don't tell me you're going to arrest Halbert because of what he said back at the cafe. The boy's harmless. He's dumb, but he'd never do something as stupid as rebel against the kingdom.
I think you have the wrong idea.
I do? So why were you in town?
I got some time off of work unexpectedly, so I popped into Juna's cafe.
Oh, a much-deserved break.
Enough games. Are you one of Kaeda's friends?
No, not exactly.
Then how about minding your own business?
Now, Hal, you don't have to be so rude to our—
Be quiet! Who asked your opinion anyway?
Hey, there's no need for you to raise your voice at her. I don't care if you do know each other.
You butt out. Whose fault is it that we're... I can't call her off!
Aisha, that's enough.
Care to explain just who the hell you are?
I don't get a chance to do this very often. Time to get a little theatrical. It seems you've forgotten my face.
No, it can't be! Your Majesty!
How can I feel guilty about being dramatic when I got a reaction that over the top?
Kinda. You knew it was him the whole time? Then how come you didn't tell me to shut up sooner?
Let's continue our conversation.
Huh?
I'm curious, is your intention to actually side with Duke Carmine?
Well, that is...
I couldn't really blame you if you chose to do so. The same way a ruler chooses and appoints his officers. I believe those officers have a right to choose the ruler they're going to serve. Kaeda, just how do you know Halbert?
We're childhood friends, Your Highness.
Childhood friends, eh? I see. Well, Halbert, as I mentioned, I'm not going to stop you from siding with the three dukedoms. However, I'm sure you already realized an inevitable fact. After I retaliate against them for their betrayal, you'll be forced to fight your friend. If I understand, Kaeda's a mage with a forbidden army, meaning that she's in a unit that reports directly to me. When you're out on the battlefield, do you think you'll be able to raise your sword against her should your two paths end up crossing? And even if you're not personally responsible, there's still a chance someone else fighting on your side might end up she'll be exposed to danger. Can you say without hesitation, you'll be fine on the side of the enemy, and not being able to come to her aid? You don't have to answer, but just know that whatever road you do choose, it leads to a future not that far away. Before you're swept up in the moment, and do something that might prove rash, just ask yourself, what is it that you want? What you truly desire, for whom and why you want it?
What I desire, and for whom.
Just a little break, yeah, right. The moment she lied down, she passed out.
Sounds like she's having a nice dream, at least.
Say, Soma. And laying it on pretty thick, to be honest. Like you didn't want him and Kaeda separating.
Well, I mean, I was just thinking realistically about what would happen if they fought on opposite sides.
You look tired. Why don't you lay on my lap?
Huh? On your lap?
Don't make it sound weird. Besides, this is supposed to be a date after all.
You do have a good point. Not like it'd be out of the ordinary.
Doesn't this make us look like we're engaged?
Yeah, in name only at least.
Name only.
Don't worry about the whole betrothal thing. I'm only keeping the throne warm for a little while. After a few years, I'll probably retire from this king gig.
Hey, do you even want to be engaged to me?
It's not very fair to ask me like that.
Huh? And why not?
Licia, are you okay? You know, being engaged to me?
Yeah, of course I am. Don't read into that. I just meant you're better suited to ruling the kingdom than I am, that's all.
You're fine being engaged to someone you don't love? Just...
That's what it's like to be royalty.
Maybe so, but I'm not royalty. Not really. Anyway, I would rather marry for love's sake.
So, in other words, you don't like me. Can you say for sure you'd never fall in love with me?
Pardon, but... How much longer do you two need me to keep pretending like I'm asleep?
Told ya, I'm pretty good at this.
I assume you're moving him using that living poltergeist magic of yours.
Yeah, I must have leveled up by using it so much or something. Because now I can move up to 4 objects with independent consciousness.
Impressive. But out of everything, this is what you're using it on?
Your Majesty? We have 3 visitors. Glaive Magna, head of the Magna family, and his son Halberd are here with Kaida Foxia, a mage with the Forbidden Army. The 3 of them are requesting an audience with you.
All of you, please lift up your heads.
Yes, sire.
Oh wow, Halbert. Looks like you saw combat sooner than you were expecting.
Conduct. No, I beg you. Have mercy on him, sire.
By misconduct, you mean yesterday?
Kaeda related the events that transpired, Your Majesty. From the abuse he heaped on your lordship, to his flagrant admission that he would take the side of the 3 dukedoms. It's unforgivable. Your Majesty's wrath is to be expected, but whatever punishment you see fit to administer should be mine alone to bear. For my failures as his father.
The blame should fall on me for letting things reach the point where my officers would consider defecting. I won't censure him.
Majesty!
And besides, by the looks of it, he's been punished enough already.
Such magnanimous words! You are merciful! Once we return to our mansion, I will see to it immediately that my fool of a son has this lesson pounded unto him by my own hand.
Yes, well, don't be too harsh. Besides, I'm worried if Halbert's rugged looks continue improving. I mean, get worked over anymore, it might end up upsetting Kaeda. That reminds me, I was going to do this at some point, but now's as good a time as any. We might as well get it over with. Mage of the Forbidden Army, Kaeda Foxia.
Sire?
It's obvious your talents are being wasted in your current position. I order you to serve under Sir Lud.
Huh? Hold on, me, a staff officer?
What's critical is the quality of our personnel and supplies. That is what you said yesterday at Lorelei. I believe you and I think quite alike.
Thank you very much, sire!
As for you, Halbert Magna, I order you be transferred to the Forbidden Army.
You want me in the Forbidden Army?
That's correct. You will be Kaeda's adjutant, where you will stand watch by her side and support her. Understood?
Yes, sire!
And with all that, our business is done here.
Your Majesty, it pains me, but I'm afraid I must request a longer audience before my departure. Something is weighing on my mind I feel I must tell you.
Tell me. I'm listening, sir.
Well, it concerns a matter I do not wish many people to hear besides you, sire. Might we clear the room?
All right. Let's hear it.
Sire.
This is surreal. I can't believe I'm actually having tea with the princess.
It would have been incredibly dull waiting around until Glaive and the king finished their business.
Princess, might I suggest that our 2 guests provide some insight how a young lady and gentleman can maintain such a strong friendship without certain entanglements. I'm sure it will prove most instructive given your situation.
Serena, please!
Well, if it helps your highness, then...
No, she wasn't being serious.
And now that you've told me this, just what do you expect me to do with the information?
That's your choice. I just wanted your highness to be aware, and I have completed my task.
This is heavy.